Hey everybody, today I'm going to be teaching you about the different types of stages that we have. So let's go ahead and get started. This should all be going into your theater arts notebook that I gave you guys last week. All right, so oh, it's just a tad bit too big, isn't it? So, types of stages and important terms. A stage, the generic term for a stage, is an area where the players perform, usually a raised platform. And then you have the proscenium stage, which is a four-sided stage built like a box with one side cut away. So if you guys look at the stage that we have here at Manor, that is a proscenium stage. And a lot of them kind of look like they have a picture frame that goes around the action on stage. Okay, next we have a couple important things on a proscenium stage that you need to know. So the grand drape, that would be our big red curtain that we have here at Manor, is a grand drape, and it's a drapery that covers the opening of the proscenium. And then on either side, we have what are called wings. So you see right here it says wing, and over here we have wings. And I don't mean chicken wings. These are where actors can hide and wait for their entrances and exits, and where tech can be and wait. On our stage, stage right houses all of my theater props, and then on stage left is where Boys and Girls Club stores their stuff. And then we have our apron. Some aprons are curved, like this one. The one we have here at Manor kind of continues out, but that is still considered an apron. We also need to know the terms downstage and upstage and center stage, and I will explain all of those later on. So a couple things you should know about a proscenium stage. You don't need to write any of this down. It's just so that you know. This is the most common stage that you'll find in educational theater. Hold on, let me put myself there so it's like I'm on the stage. Haha, that's fun. The grand drape can be opened to reveal the picture or scene to the audience. I'm just going to let you guys read it, honestly. Do I have to read this all out loud? Oh, here's something you should probably write down. The bottom bulletin point says something about the fourth wall. So the fourth wall is that section, imagine the stage is a box, and where that grand curtain is that fourth wall. And when you open it, it's like you can look into the box. So in theater, we have something called breaking the fourth wall, and this refers to when a performer addresses the audience directly as part of the production. Um, this even happens in movies. Deadpool does it all the time, and there's other productions that do it as well. It's a lot of fun, but it does kind of break the illusion of theater sometimes because you're literally like, hey, I'm talking to this audience that's watching me right now. All right, then another kind of stage. I actually really love this one. If you watch any sort of wrestling, oh no, then you would have seen this one. We have the arena stage. This is a stage constructed so that the audience can sit on all sides, also known as theater in the round or central staging. And it doesn't have to be any specific shape. It just depends on the space that you have. The stage is always in the center of the audience. It can, like I said, any shape. There's no traditional backdrop or curtains or anything like that. So the actors have to enter through the audience. And I've actually performed in an arena setting before, and it was a lot of fun. It's a very intimate feeling. The stage area is often referred to as the pit or arena. And this is because arena stages actually date back to Greece and Rome, where most things were done in kind of that arena seating where the audience seats were raised and the stage was down below. So if you've ever seen the movie Gladiator, that's an example of an arena. Then we have a thrust stage. If you ever get to go to the Temple Civic Theater in Temple, they have a thrust stage like this. And a thrust stage kind of has the back of it is like a proscenium, but then it has an apron that comes out and becomes a stage unto itself. And the audience sits on 3 sides of the thrust stage. This is also known as a platform stage or an open stage. Like the arena, it does have the benefit of creating more intimacy with the audience and the performers. And the entrances on thrusts can happen. They can happen from backstage. They can happen through the audience. So yeah, but it causes issues with the blocking. You kind of always have to be mindful of trying to show as much of yourself to your audience as you can. But this is really tough if, there's people that are just behind you. It's just tough to do. And it says many of the works of Shakespeare were first performed on the thrust stage at the Globe Theater, which I will show you guys later. We also have a black box theater. This is a type of theater you'll normally see in most educational settings. Outside of like middle school and high school, but most colleges have a black box theater as well as a regular proscenium type of stage. These are easily built and maintained. You can literally just take a room, even like this classroom, paint it black everywhere, floor, ceiling, black, everything. And you can turn it into a thrust stage. You can turn it into arena seating, which is how the one show I did was, it was in a black box. You can do things where it's very interactive. You can do things where people are hanging from the ceiling. And the absence of the color, because everything is black, you kind of just get sucked into just the production itself and the costumes, and you don't need as much set. So yeah, I love black boxes. I wish we could have one. The reason the walls are black at the end of my classroom is because a previous theater teacher tried to turn my room into like a black box theater, at least down there. But it didn't quite work. And then we also have another kind, which is one of my favorites, called a found space theater. And this means that you are literally converting any space that was not originally intended to be a stage into a stage. And we very well might potentially do something like this in times of Corona, since traditional theater seating requires close contact. So maybe we turn a space like the basketball courts or something into a stage space, and it would work. It would be fine. It can be improvised wherever a suitable space can be found. The Commons is another space that could easily be turned into a found theater space. And this is very common in modern productions, especially ones that don't need very specific set design. Like this, this obviously is no specific set, but it does allow for a lot of movement and creativity. Okay, this is a lot. I need you to write all of this down. Theater has its own kind of special way of saying things and describing things. So one thing I'm really trying to drive through to you guys in this first week is all of that special terminology that goes with acting. So make sure you put that this is stage terminology. The house is the section of the theater where the audience sits, or out front. So out front of the curtain, obviously. So this is literally, it doesn't matter what kind of theater you have, wherever an audience is the house. In our cafeteria, it's where you guys all sit at your tables and eat lunch and breakfast. Then we have something called blocking, which is going to be stuff we go over more in the next few days. Blocking is the movement of an actor during a production. On stage is anything within the stage and it's visible to the audience. Off stage is anything that is not visible to the audience. So every stage, no matter what kind of stage it is, has an on-stage space and an off-stage space. Then you have backstage. This is rooms typically not directly next to the stage. These are rooms kind of either off to the side or like in the back. You have to go through a door or two to find the space. And this is where the dressing rooms are. This is where something called a green room is usually located, which is the space where actors congregate and wait and can eat, but still be in costume and wait to go on. And then you have acting areas. And these, depending on how I teach it to you, there's 9 to 15 divisions of the stage that are used by the directors to help give the actors stage directions, and also to help the techies know where to set the set pieces. I will teach you only the 9 because there's really no point in going into all 15 at this point in your experience. But yeah. And this is where we're going to stop for today because this is a whole nother slideshow topic. So let's move into today's assignment.